Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Ladera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women.
That's right. And what a wonderful day it is. Day to give God thanks and praise for allowing us to see another day and to be here to discuss matters of national interest. And who better to help us discuss that from a constitutional standpoint is the one and only Professor Sidney McArthur. Walter Thompson is back in the house because this is Masterclass Monday. And every Masterclass Monday in these parts, we look at the Constitution of the Bahamas, which has been gaining quite a lot of attention in recent days. Professor, as always, welcome.
Well, thank you, Ms. Malcolm, and good afternoon, Bahamas. It's good to be here on this Monday for the Masterclass by Ms. Michelle Malcolm. She's been doing a remarkable job
Thank
with
you.
the classes. And I'm delighted to be here to assist the Bahamian people. Let me just say that the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas is the supreme law of the land.
Mm-hmm.
Any other law that is in contravention of this Constitution, to the extent that it's inconsistent with the Constitution, this Constitution shall prevail, and the other law, whether in whole or in part, is null and void. Doesn't exist. I'm delighted to see Bahamians are pushing for their constitutional rights. It's a good thing. I'm going to encourage Bahamians to continue to fight for it. You know, the real thing is you just have some serious battles ahead of you. Just getting to know it is one thing. Applying it diligently and effectively is another thing. So I'm going to stop right there and let Ms. Malcolm continue. Because see, when you get me into this thing now, I can go to the man.
I don't see it.
So I say, let me stop.
I can just tip out and let you finish the show. I mean,
Exactly, yeah.
All right. Now, the reason why this is so important is because in recent days, we have seen some activity that suggests that certain people in certain positions don't understand the Constitution and what the Constitution says, specifically as it relates to one's right to be able to protest, lawful assembly. And so for that reason, we are going to jump ahead because we weren't at the position as yet to get to Article 24. But after all of the uproar that took place last week with regard to the arrest of 18 Bahamians who were protesting against, well, who were protesting hopefully to get the attention of those, I suppose, who were attending CARICOM, and 18 Bahamians were arrested and brought before the courts for unlawful and idle assembly, I think the charge
That's what they
was,
said, yes.
against Lincoln Bain.
And for resisting arrest.
And for resisting arrest.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So we weren't supposed to be as far as Article 24 is yet. I think we were going to start Article 15.
That's correct.
But
That's a big jump, you know.
but this we had to jump. we had to jump. We had no choice.
You had no choice.
Because
yeah.
everybody now want to know what the deal is.
Everybody wanted to know what the deal was. And I'm happy to have a team working with me. They helped me tremendously over the weekend. Made sure that I had every available tool that was necessary for me. And of course, I have brought the statute law, Article 78 in the Penal Code.
Okay.
I'm going to let you peruse
Good to
that.
know. Good to know.
And also, the police gave me something, but it was not what I wanted. I wanted to find out from the police what are the exact requirements that you ask a group or an individual as it relates to protesting or having a demonstration.
So we can get into all of that today.
Yes, we get all that today, yes.
All right, let's see how much ground we can get covered. All right, the telephone numbers to call 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and the WhatsApp line is 8010271, 8010271. Remember now, we are streaming live on Facebook on the official Global 99.5 FM page, as well as the official Michelle Malcolm page. We're also streaming on YouTube, and you can catch us on Cable Bahamas Channel 974. Whatever you do, like and share the show. Let everybody know that GPS is on the air, and we're talking about Article 24 of the Constitution as relates to your rights to protest and assemble to protest.
Yes.
So let us begin by me reading what the actual Constitution says in Article 24. Now, before I go there, for those of you who may want to call in, you feel free to call in, but remember now, this one's serious business. So if you want to call in nothing with sense, don't bother to call, okay? Because we're trying to cover a lot of ground today.
Oh, yeah, plenty.
You're welcome to call if you have a sensible question to ask or whatever, but don't call talking stupidness today because you can get cut off. Because we don't have time for foolishness today. All right? Okay. Article 24:1. Except with his consent, no person shall be hindered in the enjoyment of his freedom of peaceful assembly and association, and is to say, that is to say,
yes.
his right to assemble freely and associate with other persons, and in particular to form or belong to political parties, or to form or belong to trade unions or other associations for the protection of his interests. I'll read that again. Article 24:1. Except with his consent, no person shall be hindered in the enjoyment of his freedom of peaceful assembly and association, that is to say, his right to assemble freely and associate with other persons, and in particular to form or belong to political parties, or to form or belong to trade unions or other associations for the protection of his interests. Article 24:2. Or should we just deal with one?
No. That Article
Let's just deal with
24:1.
one first.
Let's deal with that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Now, let me just say this to the Bahamian people.
Mhm.
We have statute laws, we have international law, and according to Article 2, the laws must conform to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas. Any other law that is inconsistent or contravenes this Constitution, to the extent that it does, it is null and void. Article 2. So that means anytime when we examine any statute law, or any international law, or any agreement that the government of the Bahamas has entered to, it must be based on what? The supreme law of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, which is the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Now, notice how the article starts off. Except with his consent.
Mhm.
A lot of people may read that and not understand what that means.
Mhm.
But it goes on further to say, except with his consent, no person shall be hindered
Mhm.
for the enjoyment of his freedom of peaceful assembly and association. Now, let me just stop right there because that says a lot right in there.
Mhm.
He has unfettered right, because it goes on to say, that is to say, the right to do something. In other words, you don't have to ask anybody for that. It's already documented in your Constitution. You already have that right. Every citizen has that right. Every group has that right. It started July the 10th, 1973 at 12 a.m. and it ain't stopped. It continues to go on.
Do you believe that there is confusion as it relates to this article because it specifically speaks to association with political parties? So is it possible that people can say, well, this wasn't referring to freedom of assembly like a protest, but this is more, say, freedom of assembly to belong to a particular party or group? Do you think that's where the confusion is coming?
That is a possibility. But notice what the Constitution says. In particular, political parties is mentioned,
Uh-huh.
trade unions mentioned,
Right.
and other associations. So you got three specific things
You are right.
in there.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
For the
In
protection of his
particular.
interests, yes.
But that part, that's a big part right there.
Yeah.
For that later.
Yeah.
But let's get back to the very beginning, where it starts out. No person shall be hindered in the enjoyment of his freedom to peaceful assembly
Right.
and his right to associate with others.
Mm-hmm.
That's his guaranteed right.
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot hinder him unless he gives his consent. Do you see what the article says?
Yes.
Except with his consent. So he can give no consent, how you can hinder him? If you hinder him, block him, prevent him, without his consent, it's unconstitutional. I remember when the doctors did their thing on Bay Street, and they got their letter, and the government today decided after, I think it was 2 days or whatever, they would ask the court to put an injunction.
Mm-hmm.
They got the injunction, but they didn't get the consent of the persons who were protesting. The Constitution said, except with his consent.
Right.
So how could the court then appease the government of the day? We're going to give you this injunction to stop them. But you didn't get the consent of the persons who were out there demonstrating.
Is there any provision in any law that says that there can be an exception to this if the persons are providing an essential service, which would have been the case of doctors?
The Constitution says plainly, except with his consent. You can't override that.
So there's nothing in the Constitution that says if it is deemed that you are providing an essential service, we could override that.
We're going to see later on in the same article,
Mm-hmm.
it makes two specific things. I'm getting ahead of myself on this point,
Right,
since
right.
you asked it.
Right.
That impose on who? Holding office for the crown
Mm-hmm.
and on a disciplined force.
Okay, let's get
But we
to
will
that.
get back to that.
Yeah, yeah.
Later on. But I just want to start at the top,
Mm-hmm.
where it says very plainly, you have to get the consent of the person you're trying to hinder or prevent or stop. Except with his consent. That means if he doesn't give his consent, you are unlawfully hindering him or preventing him.
So what is a scenario where I can give you consent to not allow me to assemble, you know?
But see, I'm only going by what the Constitution says. That's supreme law.
Right.
And we have to take it as is. It says except with his consent. If he doesn't give any consent, then you can't fool around with him.
So why the police and everybody else confused?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I'm glad you asked that. And there's nothing in this article that says anything that you have to get permission to be able to have this right, because the right is already entrenched in the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's some other things you have to deal with, because we talked about public safety, public order. We come into all of that in there.
Mhm.
There's plenty in there to talk about.
Mhm.
But I'm simply saying, right at the top of the article, you have to get his consent.
Okay, we have a call on the line. Call, welcome to GPS.
Good day, God bless you, Michelle. How you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. Good day, Sydney Thompson. How you doing, my friend?
Good afternoon.
Fontella Chipman. She comes to mind, Michelle, as you folks are talking about Article 24, number 1.
24.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
24-1.
yeah, 24-1.
Yeah, okay.
She, and of course, Sydney, I don't know if you've said it before, but the gender he in law includes both the male and the female. So I just want people not to be confused. That's not just referring to any male, to the male. That's women and men included in that. Yeah, correct?
I'm listening, go ahead.
Yeah, when Fontella Chipman had protested her individual self standing on Bay Street, was she arrested, Michelle, or just told to leave?
No, she was taken into custody.
Okay. Now, based on what you two are saying to be the listening public now, Fontella Chipman was one peacefully protesting, and she did not give the police the consent to infringe upon her right to freely and peacefully, which is the key word there, protest. Sounds to me like a Fontella Chipman needs to now mount a lawsuit against the police force based on that very same article, 24, part 1. And from what I heard on the video that you played last week, Michelle, regarding the situation down at Bahamar, Lincoln was very calm. And it was my understanding that as I listened to the video and I heard somebody else make the comment, the crowd didn't get agitated and wasn't carrying on bad, so to speak, until the police showed up and started to harass them. Did you both get that same understanding from that video?
Now, there were a couple of videos, you see.
Okay, the one where Lincoln was arrested.
I agree. It didn't seem that he was causing any kind of
Exactly.
uproar.
Yeah, that's what I gathered as well. So my point is, it seems to me that the police force needs to be schooled on the Constitution. Because if Lincoln Bain was peacefully, he and his group were peacefully protesting on the public sidewalk, which is public property, which you and I, our money paid for to build as taxpayers, and they did not give the police consent, and they were not disorderly, and they were not a threat to causing any physical threat to anybody. From all indications, and I stand always to be clarified and corrected, but from what I understand, from all indications, the police force was wrong. Now, I'm going to hang up and listen further because I'm really enjoying this, but I just wanted to bring up Fontella Chipman as an individual Bahamian who was arrested when she was peacefully mounting a one-person demonstration, as it were, on Bay Street, and she did not give consent. She was not disturbing the peace. She was not a threat to national security. She wasn't guilty of any of those exceptions, I believe, that may be something you may talk about a little later. We need to get it right. We need to get it straight, and we need to do it right in this country when it comes to the Constitution. And I'll continue to listen. Thank you.
All right, thanks for going, JD. Now, in the case of Fontella, I think that, if I'm not mistaken, I think that the charges that they levied against her was unlawful assembly. And my question was, how you could have an unlawful assembly with one person? How could be an assembly if it's just one person?
It cannot.
So that didn't make any sense to me.
That's correct.
Now, the situation with Lincoln goes deeper, from what I am being advised,
Yes.
than just typical protest, etc. That gone way deeper than that.
Yes.
From what I am being advised,
Okay.
Lincoln and his crew was sort of one step ahead by registering in the hotel, where they, as guests, will have access to persons who were here attending CARICOM. And I understand that that was considered to be the threat. And so, according to him, when they saw him on the premises, and then he said, but I am a guest, it presented a bit of a dilemma, because if you were a guest, how I could tell you can't be there.
Exactly.
And according to him, he wasn't at that time arrested. They just took him into custody and they went on a little drive. But on according to him, I was just driving out the drive. Now, I don't know if it's true, but that's what he said.
That was what he said. You know, you could see the fallacy in it.
It's just crazy.
It doesn't make any sense.
None. We have another caller line. Call him back on the GPS.
Good day, Lady Malcolm. I'm Professor McArthur of the Thompson.
How you doing?
Good day. How are you?
I am laughing, just laughing with John from the day this thing foolishness happened. And I am happy that you all have this constitutional drug reaction Article 24, and it is constituent, because everything you all are saying, everything we know, some of us know here, that they were in total error. You understand? But the problem that we are having, McArthur Walter Thompson always says it, the Haman do not know the Malcolm, they're right. They do not know it. And I proved it last night. I went to a restaurant out there with my daughter and my grandchild and some friends, and listen, they didn't know their right at all. You understand? So I'm very, very, very happy for the show. And like you said, how in the world is the man got a ban on issued by the hotel? He's got a right to be on the property anyway.
Yeah.
And ain't only that, if you remove him from the property and he has a ban on, I'm wondering about the conference, then why would the other guests that were closer to the conference walking up and down with their ban on, why would they ask to be removed? Because they have the same privileges with the ban. You know, and the police, a lot of them know better, you know, but they take advantage of our ignorance with the law. And I was telling some people last night, out of 3 cases, since I sensitized myself to the Constitution and won 3 lawsuits in the Indian court. The court won't blame Malcolm. They didn't wait. That's why when you get Gene, Mooney, James, and Taki Toto, and all them fellas and all them Jamaicans, and being accosted by the name of officials, they go to court and they win these large sums of money. They ain't soon realize our court system works. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, thank you for calling. I want us to stay focused, because if we go down the road of the Lincoln Bain situation, that'll take us on a completely different direction today.
Yes, ma'am.
So I don't know that I want us to go down that road, because our not today anyway, but our intent today is to get people to know what the Constitution of the Bahamas says as it
That's
relates
correct.
to the rights to protest and freely assemble
Yes.
with others. I promise you we can talk about the Lincoln Bain situation on another day, maybe tomorrow, depending on I've been working on another show for tomorrow, but so far everybody I approach is saying that they can't do it tomorrow. You know, that's the biggest challenge I have as a talk show host in this country. You know, getting people to say yes, they can come on the show. But anyway, we digress. But yeah, so unless I say to you, please prohibit me from having this demonstration or this assembly, according to the Constitution, you don't have a right to hinder me. So where did this whole thing come in, where it talks about I have to get permission from the police, I have to have a permit from the police to protest? If our Constitution clearly says that I have the right to protest, how come we're now being told that we have to have a permit from the police to protest?
That is why I went to the police headquarters to get the exact information. But what they gave me had nothing to do with what I was interested in knowing about. The officer there, he just went to the drawer, say he has some information, and he gave me something about the lenses and all that, which was more detailed than what I wanted to get from.
Right.
You do not need any permission to freely assemble and congregate. That is your unfettered right. Now, what you can do, since it's a public place, you inform the police of your intention. That's what you do. And when we go further in the article, we're going to see some specific things that the Constitution speaks to. But when it comes to the statute law, there must be justifiable situation for them to act in a manner that they would deem to be not in the interest of the public. So in other words, if he's the only one that's asking for that spot, and he writes them and tells them, I want to demonstrate. The police has no authority whatsoever, according to this Constitution, or any other law, because see, the other law has to give way to the Constitution. It has to be justifiable. If it isn't justifiable, the Supreme Law always supersedes any other law. That's why it says in this same article, just what is quoted in Article 2, any other law that is inconsistent or in contravention to this Article 24. That's why they put it in there. That is an unfettered right that Bahamians have. And no police commissioner, no police force, no government can stop it. Because it's entrenched in the Constitution. What they like and don't like is not important. It's the Constitution says, except with his consent. No person shall be hindered. No person shall be hindered. Lock, stock, and barrel. That's in your Constitution. No law, any statute law could overturn that. So what they have to do, where the statute law has to make provision, we're going to see that further in the article. Provision has to be made for these people who want to be peaceful assembly, to assemble together in a public place. So you inform them. That's what you do. But it is not for you to tell me I can't do it because you don't like me, or something happened last night which you didn't like with somebody else.
So the act of informing them is for them to ensure that there is no conflict with any other group,
Precisely,
that we are protected in our right to do that.
Exactly, and that's what the article explains. That's why I say we kind of jump in ahead about it.
Right.
But it's in the article that we go through, and we're going to cover all those details, and it specifically brings out certain points. The only time in this article where impositions may be imposed, persons holding the office for the crown, and those who are members of a disciplined force. Those are the restrictions. Restrictions could be imposed there.
Mm.
Not on persons who want to freely and peacefully assemble. If the man say, I don't like you, gotta be crazy. That is not according to the supreme law. And that's why I'm saying that, the fact that Bahamians didn't know the Constitution, Bahamians, you gotta stop that foolishness now. You gotta start learning it. Because for 50 long years, Professor Thompson had to wait for these people to wake up. After 50 years, they decide they have a constitution. They want to know about their constitutional rights. That's good. I love it. I want them to put more pressure on the government of Bahamas. I want them to put more pressure on their representatives because they're still sleeping. They're still flunking. We have to do something about that. We do.
Oh boy, so this, wow. All right, we are going to, is that a call for the show? Yes, no? Okay, let's take this caller and then we're gonna go to the commercial break. Caller, welcome to GPS. You need to turn on your radio, please, because we're getting feedback. That's better, yes.
How you doing, Ms. Malcolm?
Good, how are you?
And I'm calling for the potential. This is Kendall Anderson. A couple of months ago, a year ago, you talked and Ms. Malcolm said, who wanna answer? And you did answer about the Constitution. And I was trying to try hard the thing, and they say we don't have no constitution because we don't go by the constitution, and you laugh. But here go today, our constitution is being disrespected and not acknowledged, and we back it now. And Ms. Malcolm, I had a couple people in Freeport came to me the other day, taxi driver, a locksmith, and they say, Kendall, that's you on the radio. You keep it up, and I don't know what I'm doing to keep up, but they look like they good listeners. But they say, why you cut me off so short Friday when a lot of people talk so long? I want to debate with you, Ms. Malcolm. Have a good day in Atlanta. Yo.
All right, Kendall.
Let me just say something to the caller, and I guess others would also get to understand that. Not because a personality or personalities in a government ignores the Constitution means that it is of non-effect. The Constitution will always be in effect when these fellas are kicked out of office. Ain't nothing changing with that. There's a way to deal with a government that doesn't want to follow the dictates of the government of the Constitution. The Constitution is supreme, not the government of the Bahamas, not the Prime Minister, not the Governor General. The Constitution is supreme. That's what people need to get in their heads. While persons in those offices can freely express ideas, suggestions, comments, the Constitution allows for that. But you have to understand the difference between constitutional law, what it says people can freely do, and at the same time, the comments made by particular personalities is not lawful. It's just a difference there, a big difference. Not because it comes out of the mouth of a particular personality, that's law. It is not. Even for those who are trained in law, they also have a right to freely express themselves about the law. But their free expression may not be lawful. It may not be according to law. Even the court can make a determination on a particular issue. The court itself could be wrong. That's why you have the opportunity to appeal. So the only thing that is always right in the Bahamians, I'm going to stress this, because this is according to the Constitution, the Constitution is always right. It is never, ever wrong. It has nothing to do with whether you agree or disagree with it. That's your right. But the Constitution, as it is right now, is always right, has always been right from its inception, right on up to now and going on up into the future. It never changes. Unless, because the articles which speak to the changing of that document by the people of the Commonwealth of Bahamas.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. And then on the other side of the break, we're going to continue to look at Article 24 of the Constitution and what it speaks to as it relates to your rights. And I want to encourage you, as Professor does every week, get your hands on a copy of the Constitution. Definitely tune in for Masterclass Mondays, but get yourself a copy of the Constitution. You don't even have to go to nobody's office to do that. As long as you have internet access, you can go and Google Constitution of the Bahamas and right there, download it to your phone, save it in a file, whatever, so that you can read over it, even alongside with this show, to get a better understanding of it. Because if you don't understand it, if you don't know what's in it, you cannot benefit from what's in it, because you will let anybody trample over that. You can only act on what you know. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will continue this most important conversation on Article 24 of the Constitution of the Bahamas. This is GPS.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin, mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here with my guest today on this Masterclass Monday, Sydney McArthur, Walter Thompson, who is our resident professor. Every Monday we go over the Constitution of the Bahamas. And whereas last week we left off where we were supposed to pick up this week at 15, we decided to jump ahead to 22 because of all that's been taking place in the country with regard to the right to protest. The telephone numbers to call 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. The WhatsApp line is 8010271, 8010271. We're streaming live on Facebook on the official Global 99.5 FM Facebook page, as well as the official Michelle Malcolm Facebook page. You can catch us on Cable Bahamas channel 974 and our WhatsApp line. The text messages only. It's 801-0271, 801-0271. So before we dive back into this, I want to tell you a little story. You know, I like to tell stories, right? I like to use little anecdotes as examples of what we're trying to talk about. And this little story, if I've told it before, please forgive me, but I think it bears repeating. This little story demonstrates why it is important to understand and know your rights and privileges that are afforded to you. So there was a poor man who had to travel from one continent to the other. This is back in the day when the only way to do so was by the big ships like, say, a Titanic. And he was only able to save up enough money for his ticket. So he saved up enough money, he bought the ticket, and then he packed his little bag, and he included in his little bag sufficient crackers and cheese to last the trip. So if the trip was a 1 week trip, he packed up sufficient crackers and cheese to last for 1 week. And every day at dinner time, he would watch the more affluent people on this ship, all dressed up nicely, and they would go to dinner in this beautiful dining room where there was music being played, and he would watch through the window as they were eating all the fine delicacies, and he would sit outside on the deck and eat his cheese and crackers. And this went on for every day of the trip. So by the last day or two before the trip would end, one of the wealthier patrons came out to him and said, "Sir, what is it we have done to offend you?" And the man says, "I don't understand what you mean. Why do you think you have offended me?" And so the man says, "Well, every day at dinner time, instead of coming in to dine with us, you would sit out here and eat alone. And we were wondering what we would have done to offend you, why you didn't want to eat with us." And so the man says, "Well, it's not that I was offended by you, sir. It's just that I don't have the money. I didn't have the money to pay for the dinner. And so I packed up enough. When we were, coming on the ship, I packed up enough food just to last for the week to get me, across to the other side of where we were headed to. But I didn't come in for dinner because I just didn't have the money to buy dinner." And so the wealthier man says, "Oh my goodness, sir, didn't you know?" And the poor man says, "Didn't I know what?" And the wealthy man said, "Your dinner was included in the price of the ticket." Now, this is the day before the voyage ends. They done been on the ship a whole week, and he could have been eating a whole week of all the finest delicacies, but because he did not know what his rights and privileges were as a result of holding onto that ticket and having paid the price of that ticket, He was subjected to eating cheese and crackers for the whole trip, simply because of a lack of knowing what his rights and privileges were. So let's bring that home to this whole question of the Constitution. If you don't know what your rights and privileges are, as contained within this document, then it will be very easy for anyone to take advantage of your lack of knowledge because you didn't take the time to understand what your rights were as it relates to the ticket you were holding in your hand, that ticket being the Constitution itself. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS. Caller, are you there? Caller, we can't hear you. Okay, you need to call back, please, because we couldn't hear you. So, Professor, we have people right now who eating cheese and crackers, and they got rights to a gourmet meal.
Yes.
But because they don't understand what is contained in this Constitution, they're letting people, they're watching people enjoy the finest meal, and they sitting on the outside looking at and eating cheese and crackers simply because they didn't take the time to read the fine print on their ticket. The ticket said all meals included in the price of the ticket.
Yes.
But they didn't take the time to read that.
Right.
So the whole week gone by, it's not the caller. The whole week gone by, and all the delicacies they could have, they missed out on because they didn't take the time to read what was on that ticket. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Michelle?
Yes, sir.
JT, I just want to let you know that it seems like your radio station, your show, quote unquote, my words are being jammed. All of a sudden, this is happening. You're not being heard right now on the radio.
Are you serious?
Seriously, yeah. I just told Jason, and Jason went and checked it out, and that's all I'm hearing on the radio right now. As you were sharing that example of a gentleman on a cruise ship, it cut out, then it came back, and then see, that's it right there.
Jason, go check and see what that is, please.
So I don't know what's going on, Michelle, but maybe y'all may want to check on your Constitution rights up there. Thank you.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know if it's from our end. My producer now is going to go see what he can find out to see if we have some kind of technical difficulty on our end. That's interesting.
Very interesting.
Okay.
It isn't one thing, it's another.
I'm not gonna go down the road of conspiracies. Everything is fine on our end. You sure? My producer say from what he could see, everything fine on our end. Facebook coming through clear, loud and clear. Facebook says all is clear here. It's just that the people can't hear me on the radio. What a time in Dumfries Church. Oh my God, what's going on? Okay, I don't know what's going on. Why my radio audience all of a sudden can't hear me? But yeah, you all need to know what in the Constitution. Yeah, read the fine print on the ticket, because the ticket, in other words, your Constitution, gives you the right to a gourmet meal, and you're around here eating cheese and dry cracker because you figure that's all you can afford. Ain't that a serious thing, Professor?
It is. It's very serious, and I'm glad you said that story. It gives us quite an illustration. The Bahamian people have not known this Constitution for 50 years, since its inception. Why that is so, I guess there can be any number of reasons why people would comment on it. But not knowing now, it has to be in the past, because 50 years has already gone by. And a lot of people lived and died over that 50-year span, hoping for a better country because of the personalities who they had trust in, who they elected to work on their behalf. So they trusted them. They relied on them. They depended on them. However, now we're beginning to see from the hardcore evidence, that we have to check out things for ourselves.
Mm.
And the Constitution is what stands out. You cannot build a nation without a strong foundation. The foundation is the Constitution.
Mm.
And we have had people write things on scraps of paper and give it to us and say, this is what we can work with.
Mm.
We never questioned it. We never checked it out. Is it in accordance with the law, with the supreme law? We just went along with it. Those days now have come to an end, I hope, because the people are now screaming at the top of their voices their constitutional rights. I'm going to encourage them to keep working at it, because I am going to tell them right now, the test of your screaming out is going to be severely tried as we move forward this same year. You haven't seen anything yet. Just stick around.
Mm. All right, let's get back to the document itself. Let me pull it up on my phone. So we finished with 24-1?
Oh, no. We got some more to cover.
Okay, let's go then.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay.
All right, what else do you wanted to say on 24-1?
24-1, where it says the person to form or belong to political parties in particular,
Right.
or trade unions, or other associations
Mhm.
for the protection
Of
of
his
their
interests.
interests. Now, let me comment on that last phrase right in there,
Mhm.
which we have overlooked for half a century.
Okay.
We have not known how to protect our interests.
Mhm.
People see the form of political parties, yes, trade unions, yes, other associations, churches, lodges, schools, whatever.
Right.
Other associations, that's the banner covering all of them. The point is sending personalities to the House of Assembly. Constituents have failed to realize that they need to protect their interests. Do we have a master plan for a particular constituency? Have the constituents come up with a master plan for the area where you live? What is it that you'd like to see in your particular constituency? And so I always ask the question, what major problems afflicting your constituency have been solved by the representative of that particular constituency over the last 50 years?
Mhm.
And here are the benefits that come to you, the constituents, as a result of that strong parliamentary representation that you should have gotten. And these are the results that we are enjoying today.
Mhm.
What we have seen over that 50-year span is a proliferation of problems, deep problems in those constituencies where people have lived and died, generation after generation, lived and died without ever getting to see the kind of country our Constitution says we ought to have.
Okay. So let's get back to this whole idea of what is included in the right of peaceful assembly and association. What is included in that?
The right to freely assemble, and in cooperation with others.
Mhm.
That is included. You can work with others freely. You're not supposed to be hindered in that.
Right.
Freely associate with others with like mind, because you have an interest to protect. The problem is that people seem to not know what their interest is. You live in a constituency, you live in a community, you're just existing, but you're not coming together because it takes cooperation. The Constitution is designed for a cooperative effort by the people in that particular constituency. And it's also applicable to the whole country, because the country is divided into 38, they got 39 now, 39 constituencies.
Mhm.
So you have to look at it constitutionally. Every person in a constituency or who lives there fall into two categories. Either they are a registered constituent or an unregistered constituent.
Mhm.
There are two categories of people in a given constituency.
Right.
Plus, they may belong to churches and lodges and political parties and all of that.
Mhm.
Constitution allows for all of that.
Mhm.
But here is a situation, Ms. Malcolm, where you need a parliamentary representative. And people seem not to understand that you are not electing a party personality to send to the House of Assembly. The party itself would have selected a particular personality to go out there to gain votes from the registered constituents, because the fellows who aren't registered, they can't help you. So that that particular personality can have representation. Now, the seat belongs to the Bahamian people. It never belonged to the political party. Unfortunately, the constituents, again, the mistake they have made is rendered over to a political party or parties. See, that's their seat. That's this party seat.
So is that the reason why the Constitution mentions in particular political parties and trade unions?
Basically, those were key factors at that particular time when it was mentioned, because remember now there were changing winds in the atmosphere that was coming over into this side of the world. Political parties and trade unions were very prominent in bringing about changes in those countries that got their independence before us.
Okay.
But also in the Bahamas. In our Constitution, it doesn't put the emphasis, say, about the churches, but the churches played a major role in the social and political change of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. But see, being who they were at the time, they said, in particular, political parties, trade unions, because remember now, political personalities come out of those two groupings. Trade union representatives who go into politics, they become members of political parties, and they are now working to become members of the House of Assembly. So in particular, they said, in particular, political parties, one, trade unions, two, and other associations. So they put the emphasis on the political parties and the trade unions.
Okay.
All right, but that does not exclude others that fall into the category of other associations. All other groupings, churches, lodges, schools, whatever other groupings they have out there, they fall under other associations. So I'm saying it is quite possible, because the way how it is worded, some people might misunderstand, but that does not exclude the other groups. So in particular, it mentions political parties and it mentions trade unions. They were the changing winds predominantly in those countries around us. When you check the history, you'll see they were very prominent at that time. And so that was mentioned in our document.
Okay. So what is the definition of unlawful assembly? I see you give me this document 79-1. What is
now? What happened is that I hadn't
I
hadn't had the opportunity to really figure out what is this quote unquote unlawful assembly.
But where does this come from? This is taken from what?
No, that's the penal code.
Okay.
That is the penal code. All right. Okay. They said persons, from what I gathered, a person's who may come together for a common cause, which is not in the best interest of the constituent.
Let me read from the penal code.
Read from the penal code. What is
definition of unlawful assembly 79-1. An unlawful assembly is an assembly of 3 or more persons who, with intent to carry out any common purpose, assemble in such a manner or so conduct themselves when assembled as to cause persons in the neighborhood of such assembly to fare on reasonable grounds that the persons so assembled will disturb the peace tumultuously, or will, by such assembly, needlessly and without any reasonable occasion provoke other persons to disturb the peace tumultuously. Persons lawfully assembled together may become an unlawful assembly if they conduct themselves with a common purpose in such a manner as would have made their assembling unlawful if it had assembled in that manner for that purpose. An assembly of 3 or more persons for the purpose of protecting the house, of any one of their number against persons threatening to break and enter such house in order to commit any crime therein is not unlawful. Now, here's the thing. This is taken from the penal code.
Yes. And let me just add to it is, it doesn't even tie in with the Constitution.
No, that was my next question. If I have the penal code in one hand and the
And the
Constitution in the
Constitution in the
next,
next,
which
right.
one takes?
The Constitution takes precedent. This is why it doesn't even address whether you're there for peaceful purpose or not. It just stresses about something being unlawful, or they go even further, talk about rises to unlawful, and rises are commonplace in that penal code.
Mhm.
These people were coming together, as I understand it, for a peaceful assembly. The Constitution allows for peaceful assembly and association with others. Nothing could supersede that from any penal code, any law. Now, it is against the law to be disturbing the peace.
Right.
All right, I understand all of that.
Mhm.
But the point is, you are not to be hindered in your enjoyment of peaceful assembly
Right.
and association.
And the key word is peaceful.
That's what the word says.
Yeah.
But I ain't saying nothing about that in the penal code. See, the penal code has taken a negative connotation. Right from the break.
Well, it does talk about persons assembled will not disturb the peace tumultuously, or will by such assembly needlessly and without any reasonable occasion provoke other persons to disturb the peace. So they are referring to disturb the peace in the penal code.
Yes, they
But
are.
the point is, if you are not disturbing the peace, because in other words, I could say that the Constitution gives me the right to assemble, but the Constitution does not give me the right to incite a riot.
Exactly. That's correct. That's why it says peaceful assembly.
Exactly.
See, the definition is right there, peaceful assembly and in association with others.
Mhm.
And it doesn't put a number on it, about 3 or 5 or 6.
Mhm.
It could be any number.
Mhm.
That's why it says no person shall be hindered except with his consent. That is the part what the authorities are not looking at, because that's ingrained in the Constitution. That ain't in no penal code. And I don't care whether it is or not. It doesn't matter to me, but the Constitution has it. No person shall be hindered in his enjoyment of peaceful assembly and association. As long as it meets those requirements, you can't stop it.
So what is the purpose of the penal code?
That's a good question. That's a good question. Those laws are so backward and outdated. They come all the way back from 1600, come right on down to our time. A lot of them have never been changed. It's unfortunate, but the penal code needs to be updated.
Okay, we have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Okay, sorry for calling back, but I want to ask you just one question.
Mm-hmm.
You got it. I got Article 24 all around.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened, McArthur, Walter, Thompson, when me and 10 of my friends don't go to the police for no permit, but what we tell them we can have a little something downtown, and we go across the little square peacefully with our placard, and then the police then come harassing us. What next? Then I just hang up and listen to what you have to say.
Let me go back. See, I'm going to answer constitutionally, right? Because that's the thing you have to work with.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to do something in Russell Square, you inform the commissioner. Tell him the date, tell him the time, and everything like that. And you are permitted under Article 24 to have a peaceful, lawful assembly. As long as it's not, where you got more than one grouping of persons in there trying to do it, if it's open.
Now that is not to say that when you say peaceful assembly, it doesn't mean, for example, that you can go and protest in the middle of the road to shut down traffic.
No, that's not what the intent of the law is.
Right.
You are supposed to see, there are others out there now. That's why you would inform the police.
Mm-hmm.
There are others out there who have the exact same rights that you have.
Mm-hmm.
So the police is there to protect you so that others who may not necessarily be a part of what you're doing do not interfere with you.
So in other words, two groups don't clash.
Exactly.
Mhm.
That's where the protection of the police comes in. And as we go further into that, we're going to see certain specific things that they mention.
Right.
But the law says you cannot hinder anybody from the enjoyment of his peaceful assembly and association. That's right at the top of the article. No statute law could change that. Nothing what the commissioners say could change that. Nothing what the government would say could change that. That's entrenched in the Constitution. And they are duty bound. Because see, even if a statute law is in contravention or, goes contrary to the Constitution, the statute law, as we're going to see further, must make justifiable, reasonable provision. Say that make provision for you now, so that you can enjoy your freedom of assembly and your freedom of doing what you have to do in a public place.
So it's not a permit that gives you permission to protest. It's an advisory to the police to let them know what you plan to do so that they can have presence there.
Exactly. You are in a public place and you inform them that you want to be there.
So this whole thing of, they applied for a permit, but we didn't say yes. That's foolishness then.
That is foolishness. Utter crap and rubbish. There's nothing in the Constitution that supports that. Because it says, except with his consent. You cannot interfere with him unless he consents for you to interfere with him. This is the document. That ain't changing for nobody. It doesn't matter whether you like it or you don't like it. You cannot interfere with his peaceful enjoyment of assembly and working in cooperation with others. That's not to be unfettered. That's an unfettered right that you have as a citizen of this country.
All right, we're going to have to take a break. Because you cause some problems, Professor.
See, I'm only going to stick rigidly with the Constitution.
You cause some things.
If they got problems, they got to settle that.
That's their hard luck.
That's their hard luck. You cannot overrule the Constitution. I just want anyone to challenge me if they want to do that. Show me where Professor is wrong. Then I'll agree with you if the Constitution supports you. But as long as the Constitution says it, that's locked in unless people decide they want to change it.
All right, we got to take a break. Ah, boy, it looks like we're going to be on 24 for a little while. Let's take this break. Let me continue this conversation today with Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson. We're going to continue to break apart, dive into, examine, study Article 24 of the Constitution of the Bahamas. Stay with us. This is GPS. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, tints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Less is love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
And we are back. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM, where we are streaming live on Facebook, on the official Global 99.5 FM Facebook page, as well as the official Michelle Malcolm Facebook page. We are also available on Cable Bahamas, Channel 974, and you can call in at 326-0271. 326-0271, 326-0272, 326-0272, or the WhatsApp line for text messages only, which is 801-0271, 801-0271. We skipped ahead of ourselves. We were supposed to be in Article 15 today, but with all of this uproar with regard to protesters being arrested and charged before the courts, everybody was calling out for us to deal with Article 24 today, which has to do with fundamental rights and freedoms of the individual as it relates to the freedom of assembly. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Yeah, Michelle, this is Wilfred Lockhart.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm just fine.
Good.
I was on the call because I had not studied up on the Constitution, never elected. That's what I meant to do.
Okay.
But when Chief back and said that they were gobbling their stuff, I was minded that the sooner I sent something, custody that sent them to the friend said the whole thing was all gobbled.
Okay.
And he had to get his family, grandfather, decided to go over.
Right.
All right?
Mm.
And it's because now I wrote something. It's just should open not much. I want to read the first 2 paragraphs for you, and then I will sign off.
Now, what does that have to do with, does it have to do with what we're talking about today, Shaggy?
In a way, because it's powerful.
Yeah, but
Give me 2 minutes and I'll be done.
it gotta be in relation to what we're talking about today, though. I'll let you start, but if you get off track, I can.
No, I'm on to read 2 little paragraphs. They live in a bubble. Every year when we take stock, our last 50 years or so, the score is an outrageous number to more than likely 0. In the case of 2022, it's 125 black Bahamian men and women having met a violent and untimely end, and not one single local white dick. I'm done.
Okay, Shaggy. I try to figure out what that got to do with what we talked about today. But anyhow, I appreciate you calling. Thanks for calling. All right, let's get back to the matter at hand. which is Article 24 of the Constitution, and your rights and freedoms as it relates to peaceful assembly and association.
Let me just make one comment before we go to section 2 of this Constitution.
Okay.
24.
Mm-hmm.
I believe persons who are registered in these constituencies, they need to look and see where it says in this very same article, do you have any interest to protect? If the answer is yes, that means you have to be well organized, because you're going to come across some forces, they're going to test you to the bone. You're going to see that happen in this country. But are you equipped? Are you ready? Like I've heard all that tumultuous noise. It's good for people to scream about their constitutional rights, but are you really ready for the challenge that lies ahead?
Well, you know, what's interesting that you say that, Professor. Nowadays, it's almost trendy to say you infringing on my constitutional right. But ask them to explain what that right is.
Exactly.
And they lost.
Completely lost. So what I would suggest very strongly is for registered, let me put it this way, the constituents in a given constituency. See, I'm going to stay strictly constitutional.
Right.
The constituents in a given constituency ought to come together. See, you have leaders right there on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find them constituents. Don't just sit and grumble and complain all day, all night, every week. That doesn't make any sense. I've heard a lot of grumbling on the airwaves, but I don't have anyone organizing themselves on the ground in that given constituency. Even if you know how to do it, there are persons who can help you to do it, but you have to seek for that.
So you're suggesting that communities come together to study this Constitution to know what's in it?
That's one way. And number two, that's a good thing you just mentioned. I would not discount that, because that's important. Number two is to be organized. See, the country said to form or belong to something.
I get your point.
Okay? So now you have all these constituents in a given constituency, but they're not organized for the express purpose of doing something to improve the lives of the constituents in that particular constituency. Do not wait on a political personality to do it. Right. It has never happened in 50 years. So what are you waiting for? It's going to take the people to organize themselves on the ground and come to a consensus. I mentioned about a master plan. Do we have a master plan for this particular constituency? See, that is a question the constituents have to answer. We have so many problems in these communities because the people themselves are not on one accord. That's why. You can be a Catholic, you can be a Baptist, you can be working to BEC, you can be working to BPL or wherever. But you're all constituents in a given constituency. There are common issues that affect all of you.
Right.
Which means you have interest. But if you don't do nothing about it, you just simply say, I can wait for the particular personality of a particular political party. Political parties were not organized for that. It's going to take the constituents in a given constituency to look at themselves, see what we have in here, see what we can do, what is it we want to see happen in here. And then, as an organized entity, you tell the person who is the representative of that particular constituency, that is what you want.
Okay. All right, shall we move on to 24?
You can move on to 2, yeah.
Okay, reading from the Constitution, Article 24:2. Nothing contained in, hold on, let me change the camera angle here. Okay, so it says, nothing contained in or done under the authority of any law shall be held to be inconsistent with or in contravention of this article to the extent that the law in question makes provision A, which is reasonably required, A1, in the interest of defense, public safety, public order, public morality or public health, or A2, for the purpose of protecting the rights and freedoms of other persons.
Okay.
Or
Go ahead.
or B, which imposes restrictions upon persons holding office under the Crown or upon members of a disciplined force. You covered that already.
Yes.
Okay. And except so far as that provision, or as the case may be, the thing done under the authority thereof is shown not to be reasonably justifiable in a democratic society. All right.
Okay, now let's take it right from the very top.
Yes. The very top of 24?
No,
24.2.
Yes.
Nothing contained in or done under the authority of any law shall be held to be inconsistent with or in contravention of this article to the extent that the law in question makes provision which is reasonably required.
Okay, stop right there.
Okay.
The law in question must do what? Make reasonable requirement. Something that is reasonable. And further on down, I talked about democratic society. Not a dictatorial society.
Right.
A democratic society. That word is different from a dictatorial society.
Right.
The law in question is to make provision. That is to make allowance for. Because it cannot be in contravention or in contradiction to Article 24 of the Constitution. So there has to be something that is justifiably reasonable. Do we understand what that means?
Such as, give us an example.
Okay, for example, if you apply, you write the police, right? And you say to them, this is what you want to do, a peaceful assembly in a particular location. Nobody else has that. Nobody else is asking for it. You're the only one asking for it. The police are to provide you with the necessary protection so that you are not interfered with by others who may attempt to interfere with you while you're doing that in a public place. This is where order comes in. See, further down and to talk about order, public order. But let me just speak to the issue of public order. The point is, the police cannot say to you, under those conditions, we ain't letting you do it, because that in itself doesn't mean anything. Because we don't like what you're doing, or we don't like your organization, or whatever. Okay? He doesn't have that authority. If the statute law is in contravention to, when it says no person shall be hindered in the enjoyment of his freedom, no statute law can override that. So what, in other words, you have to make provision in the statute.
Right.
That's what the law says. The Supreme Law says that you must make provision for these people to hold that peaceful assembly and to gather together.
So let me ask you something, Professor. What if there's this unspoken strategy or tactic? Let's say I want to have 10 of my friends and I want to protest against something, right?
Yes.
We write the commissioner, or we write the police, the relevant department, and we say, we 11 friends are coming together on February 21st. We're going to have a protest against the price of tea in China, whatever.
Exactly.
We're going to protest. But if the police choose not to respond to our request, no, let's say, okay, I'm not even going to say a day before, because it could argue that they didn't see the request in time. So let's say I write them 2 weeks before. And I say, this is to advise that my 11 friends and I are going to be gathering in Russell Square to protest the price of tea in China.
Yes.
But they decide that they ain't going to respond to our advisory that we vote to protest. So they could say, as has been allegedly said, well, we never gave you permission. But that could, first of all, you're saying you don't need to give me permission.
No, you don't.
You just need to be there to protect my interest.
Protect your interest,
Right.
yes.
But
That's
second
correct.
of all, if you choose not to acknowledge that I sent you a letter of informing you that this is what we plan to do, does that give you the right to hinder me because you claim we never,
Got the letter.
either we never got the letter or we didn't say yes, we didn't say no, we didn't say anything, so you can't assemble because we didn't respond to your request.
Well, that's being stupid by the police.
Oh, Jesus.
Absolutely stupid.
Oh my God.
Because the Constitution says plainly, except with his consent, no person shall be hindered. That's right at the top of the Article 24:1. So you are trying to be reasonable, but the police isn't being reasonable. You will inform them in good time. 2 weeks, a week, you let them know in good time so they would have knowledge of the fact that that is what you intend to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember now, this is an unfettered right. They cannot stop you to say you can't do it. So that is why it is important that they do their job and answer you as to what the conditions may be. It may be any number of groups that might have applied. But once you apply and you let them know that is what you want to do, nobody else is there. Nobody, it's not taken up by anybody else. Just you. So what's the justification for telling you you can't do it? What's the justification? No justification. No reasonable justification. And if they just play crazy like they do sometimes and ignore you, they got a problem. You don't have a problem. Because the Constitution says, except with your consent, you cannot be hindered. Lock, stock, and barrel. So it's a matter of trying to keep public order. So you don't just jump up and say, I'm going out there. But you ain't telling nothing.
So are you suggesting, Professor, that there's a possibility that this can be interpreted that the police are themselves breaking the law according to the Constitution of the Bahamas? Is that what you're suggesting?
When you look further down in the article, you will see some specific points. One of the points is public order.
Mm-hmm.
Who's responsible for public order? Police, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, they know it is your intent to do a particular thing. Because you inform them.
Right.
You're not a thief. You don't sneak upon anybody. And you let them know your intent. And they say, okay, we will provide coverage for you. That you are not interfered with in the enjoyment of your freedom of assembly and association. You have an unfettered right to that. The police cannot tell you you can't do it.
What happens in the case if you don't inform them? You just decide at the last minute we're going to go protest, and you and a group of friends go down with your placards, and you marching up and down on the side of the road, not in the middle of the road now, just on the sidewalk, and you saying the price of tea in China gotta come down. The price of tea in China gotta come down. But you ain't informed nobody was going out there to protest against it. You just show up. What happens then?
But remember now what the Constitution says,
Uh-huh.
right? It talks about particular situations, public order.
Right.
In order for there to be public order and peace, remember now it's peaceful.
Uh-huh.
You inform the authorities and let them know.
So that's a part of the process.
That's a part of the process. I don't have no difficulty with that.
Mm-hmm.
But him coming out telling me you can't do it because I don't want you to do it, you're talking foolishness.
But if I didn't call them ahead of time, if I didn't let them know ahead of time, does that give them the right to tell me I can't have the protest?
No.
Still don't give them the right.
No, it doesn't. Because it said no person shall be hindered. But you are being reasonable as a citizen, justifiably reasonable in informing them
Right.
what it is, because you want public order,
Right.
not public confusion.
Understood.
So you're being a responsible citizen by doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Now they want to play crazy and do want to. That's their problem. You have every right to go and protest.
Oh, dear God. Okay. We can take a break. Professor, you're causing all kind of problems today.
I only going by what the Constitution says, except with his consent, no person shall be hindered. I'm sticking with that lock, stock, and barrel. I couldn't give a hang what anybody else said. That's ingrained in the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and that can't be changed unless the people decide they want to change it. This is a democratic society, not a police state, not a dictatorship. The man said today in his speech last night, "See, this is our land, not them other people's things." We'll get that straight.
All right, y'all stay tuned, y'all. This is GPS. We're talking with Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson about your rights under the Constitution of the Bahamas, Article 24.
Yes.
Stay with us.
At Lee Air, safety is our #1 priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all. Schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
One of the things I love about the mailboat is their relationship with Bahamas Air. I can earn travel points on my international freight and redeem them when I fly.
For me, online shopping is easy, with mailboat US addresses and regular freight delivery to Nassau. Plus, I can always prepay customs and freight, and they always notify me when my package arrives.
Yeah, a lot of people think the mailboat is just for shipping, but they also offer a safe and secure storage facility at affordable rates, all in a central, convenient location.
We also offer passenger service into Freeport multiple times per week with a seating capacity of over 450 persons. With family movies on large screens, one hot meal included, and on-board lounge for snacks and soft drinks. We're the mailboat. We're bridging people, products, and places.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
All right, we are back. Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift, here on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here on this Masterclass Monday. And Professor Sidney McArthur Walter Thompson is, man, he is causing all kind of problem today with this master class. He causing problems today. This is Article 24 that we're covering. We had to skip ahead because based on where we were only supposed to be on Article 15. But in light of what took place last week with regard to the protests, etc., people were asking us to please cover Article 24 of the Constitution, which deals with this. Now, because we only have what? Oh, we have Carl on the line. Carl, welcome to GPS.
Mr. Malcolm, how are you today?
Good, how are you?
Good afternoon to you again. I'm great.
Good afternoon.
Based on what I'm understanding, experience as Justice within and the COI in the very immediate future have a large infusion of cash to inject into their party to further their cause. This sounds like a lawsuit in the making.
Well, he already said they're gonna take it to court. He already said that.
No, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, he already said they're taking legal action.
Okay, well, I'm glad they're not just the government. I'm glad they're challenging the Constitution and I guess the lack of adherence to the Constitution, I should say.
I want to read something. This was taken from someone who is, I'm trying to find it now. Where is it? Someone who is in a chat group that I'm a part of. Let me see if I can find it now. So I thought that his view was quite profound. I just gotta find where I put it. Give me a second. Let me see if I can find it. In the meantime, while I'm looking for this, I want to ask you a question, Professor, while I'm looking for this. Explain in simple, basic language the last part of the article, which reads, and except so far as that provision or so far as the case may be, the thing done under the authority thereof, the thing is shown not to be reasonably justifiable in a democratic society.
Okay. What is this thing? What is this provision? The statute law is to make provision. The thing is the decision made by the particular personality in that area where a determination is made. That's the thing. In relation to what may have been sent to them, in this particular case, a demonstration or a march or whatever the case may be. All right? It has to be shown that it is not justifiably reasonable for that to happen. However, what you're saying is we have a democratic society, not a dictatorial society, okay, where people just do and act as they please. The provision of the statute law cannot cannot override the constitutional law. So in this case where it talks about public order, right? You inform the police that I want to do something, I want to do a demonstration, such and such a place, such and such a time, etc., etc. You give them all the details. Nobody else has in that space. There are no millions of people wanting to apply for that spot. You are the first one to get there. What's the justification for the police telling you you can't do it? That's unreasonable. See, the Constitution speaks for reasonably justifiable. There's no reason to that. Just because they don't like you, they don't want you to, I'm giving you authority. You ain't got to give me no authority to do nothing. Because that's not in your purview. You are asking specifically for their protection so that you can have your enjoyment of freedom of assembly and association. Not that I am asking you for permission to do it,
right? Because
you don't have that right.
Okay.
The right is already there. So the thing is the decision that is made And it ought to be justifiable. If it ain't justifiable and it is unreasonable, because you decide, well, okay, I want you to do it. That's not justification at all. In a democratic society, remember this democratic society, people have their rights, people have their freedom, they have their privileges, but the other people out there who ain't a part of this particular group, they have theirs too. So the police has to be there to make sure that there's public order.
Okay. I want to read something. This is from, I won't call his name, because I didn't get permission to call his name, but
Okay.
this is from a member of a chat group that I'm a part of, and I thought it was quite interesting. It said, I would wager that Lincoln Bain is today the happiest man in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I cannot conceive of anything that would give him greater pleasure, or that would better serve his purposes, than to be criminally prosecuted for the offense he has now been charged with. This creates a brand new and a much bigger platform for him now. Far from hurting him, it helps him immensely. It hands him a much bigger spotlight, bullhorn, soapbox, martyr's clothing, and fresh oxygen, all in one fell swoop. Charging him was a supremely foolish, short-sighted thing to have done. Now this is where it gets deep.
Mm-hmm.
As a sort of postscript to my last post, the late Edward St. George once told me that he was instructed by the royal governor to lose the famous sedition case against Randall Folks in 1958. St. George, then only 30 years old, was prosecuting the case as Solicitor General with the legendary Vivian Blake QC of the Jamaican bar defending. Edward threw himself body and soul into the case, and though he had it won, having an all-white but one jury didn't hurt either. But one day during the trial, he was summoned to Government House. There the governor asked him point blank, "What are you playing at, Edward? From all accounts, it appears you are trying in earnest to win this case against Folks." To that Edward assured His Excellency that indeed he was. The governor then startled him by saying, "No, you must certainly not. Blake is going to make a no case to answer submission, and you can finesse it however you like. But your job now is to make sure that Blake succeeds so that the case against Fox is thrown out by the judge."
Mm-hmm.
Dumbfounded, Edward asked, "With respect, why on earth would I do that? Folks broke the law, and I have him dead to rights. There's no way I can lose this case." To that, the governor responded, "Oh, Edward, stop being so naive. If Folks is convicted, he'll have to be jailed. He'll be hailed as a martyr, and there'll be a riot in town. Who wins then?" So Edward reluctantly did as he was told. So much for the high standards of British justice. The judge accepted Blake's submission, and Folks was let go, much to his personal disappointment, I'm sure. And there was no more trouble over his supposedly seditious behavior. Reflecting on it some 40 years later, however, St. George told me that in retrospect the governor was right, that in some things, going by the book may be the technically even morally correct thing to do, but still, when viewed through a wider lens, a terribly unwise thing to do.
Yes, ma'am.
I thought that was profound.
Very
Because
profound.
I know I said that we weren't going to go into it, because I didn't want the show to vary off into another direction.
Yes.
But truth be told, they played right into Lincoln's hands
Yes.
when they decided to arrest. And see, and here's the thing, like I keep saying to y'all, this ain't like back in the day when it's your word against mine. You see this here?
Much more.
This is a camera.
Yes.
This a camera that records video. And I could go live with this camera at any time to social media where people not just in the Bahamas but around the world can watch and see what is happening in real time.
Yes.
So it ain't no covering up things and speaking nothing that run no more and saying
Exactly.
your word against mine.
Yes.
So why in the world, if you know the Constitution, and I gotta say if, because maybe the police don't know the Constitution itself, or maybe they just follow instructions Or maybe it's a combination of both.
Yes, ma'am.
But the point is, if you know this goes against the Constitution, and that's a big if, why in the world would you take such an action to give this man more fuel to burn the fire with what you trying to put out?
Exactly.
It does not make
no
sense.
sense at
You're
all.
cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Yes. That is why it is so important. If, and again, the Bahamian people have to be very careful of persons you choose to do your national business.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be very careful of that. I believe we've been careless over the last 50 years since our development as a nation. We haven't achieved much. We have too many problems. Because people have been writing things on scraps of paper and say, we're going to go by this. The Constitution has been ignored. It hasn't been overlooked. But the Constitution is the only salvation document for the Bahamian people. Remember I asked one question some time ago on this same show?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, what is it that can bring the Bahamian people together as one? Our motto is forward, upward, onward, together.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that can really pull the Bahamian people together, as we're going to see as we move forward from this day onward, is the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Not the scraps of paper that people have been writing things on and trying to push that at the people.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to work. See, the Bahamian people now realize they've been missing something for 50 years. They have found what it is they were missing for 50 years, and that's why they are anxious and concerned about their constitutional rights. That is a good thing. I just want them to keep it up, because the pressure is coming. We ain't seen nothing yet. It's coming, and they're going to be severely tried, severely tested, but we will be able to pull it.
Perfect word stand on for this particular show, because we are out of time. My God.
Wow.
My God from Zion. Oh, Lord. Professor, you caused all kind of problem today. You're a problem maker. You better look up where you're going to get taken into custody for causing.
Well, see, but let's put it this way: the Attorney General,
because you decide plenty peace today.
See, the Director of Public Prosecutions, if he deems in his mind that he has an action against me, I have to comply.
We got to go back to music player. Lord, I'm looking forward to next week, Monday God spare life. Wait. All right, y'all, time is gone. Thank you so much for tuning in to GPS. Now, I show what we're doing tomorrow, because the show I was working on, everybody telling me they can't come, so maybe I got to switch directions. We can see. But rest assured, it's going to be something that's going to be thought-provoking. Until then, I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're still on.